Yeah, this is just rolls of newsprint, right? This particular plant was in South Africa. I go up to the plant manager, and I said, what is this room going to look like 10 years from now? And I thought I would get a rousing defense of print. Instead, he walks up to me and whispers in my ear. He says, Bharat, I get all my news in the iPad. Like, oh. What's the problem with newspapers? What's the challenge they're facing? It's not a rhetorical question. Online news, you can get it quick, you can get it cheap, you have more variety, right? It's rich media, you can personalize it. This is about as good an online alternative as you can imagine. And of course, the question to ask is, how has this affected news readership? That's how it's affected it. So readers are moving away pretty fast, except I just realized I forgot to put the time axis here. This is like after months of preparation for this presentation, right? Where do you think the internet is on this chart? Yeah, probably all the way to the left is when it kicks in. Actually, I didn't forget the time axis. So this has been going on for 60 years. Oh my gosh, this has nothing to do with the internet. What starts this decline? It was radio, then broadcast TV, then black and white TV, cable TV, 24/7 cable news, and then the internet. By the way, if you took out time, the impact of the internet is empirically indistinguishable from everything that came before it. And yet, every story we hear is about how the internet destroys newspapers. It did, but it had nothing to do with the news content. As we now know, the impact was really on classifieds. Classified revenue accounts for about 40% of revenues of a newspaper, more than half the profits. And if you look at the New York Times, between 1994 and 2010, average annual decline in news readership, less than 0.5% a year. Classifieds, on the other hand, they basically lose 90% of those revenues. Now, the puzzle is, why the difference? Which is, if we look at the online version of news and classifieds, it looks pretty much the same in terms of the benefits it offers. And yet, the decline in news readership has been relatively small, for classifieds, massive declines. The reason, I think, goes back to something pretty fundamental about behavior, which is, how do we consume each of these products? Which news site would you like to go to? Well, it doesn't depend on what my friends choose. Even if my friends like Google and CNN and Yahoo, if I like the NewYorkTimes.com, I will go to the NewYorkTimes.com. In other words, I'm making decisions based on product quality and price.